Hey yo, what's happening, fellas? Welcome back to the channel. On today's menu, why I think game is an illusion. Wouldn't you prefer a woman like you for who you are versus some fictitious character you have to uphold? Let's eat. Alright fellas, let's talk about game. In my opinion, I think it's an inauthentic attempt to create a character to become more capable of picking up women? How does that sound? You put on this persona and learn a plethora of pickup lines just to impress a woman? You know you have to keep up that act for as long as you interact with her, right? Wouldn't you prefer a woman to be impressed by the strength of your natural presence? I mean, we ridicule women all the time for putting on makeup, push-up bras, fake eyelashes, BBLs, fake tits. I mean, the list is endless. For us men, in my opinion, we should play to our strengths, understand female nature and how to engage their emotions and move accordingly based on their response. This idea of learning pickup, I don't think it's necessary. But on the flip side, if it's been working for you, go ahead, run it. I'm not gonna knock what's been successful. But I challenge you to take a different approach. If you're a man who's confident, smells good, has his life together, and can dress in more than just sweatpants and a hoodie, you're already beating half the men out there anyway. I would argue learning to speak to women comes with practice, and if you suffer from some kind of social anxiety, you need to learn how to get out of your own way. At least make an effort to improve your social skills. Go out a little more often. Engage with people other than your tight circle. I promise you, people aren't as bad as you make it seem. So this idea of game, I would argue the biggest part of it is just a transformation of yourself. If you're a man whose confidence is low, maybe you don't have your own place yet or you don't make enough money as you'd like to, right? You have no business talking to a woman anyway. A man who wants to be good with women, or at the very least attract them, has to be good in his own skin and circumstances first. Listen, women prefer a man who's well put together, and you should want that for yourself anyway, right? Whatever that looks like. I challenge you to take an entire year to just focus on your inadequacies and become a better you. The results afterward, I promise, astonishing. Somewhere there's a better version of you that has a low tolerance for foolery, a confident man who has grown to love himself and develop a self-sufficient lifestyle that he thoroughly enjoys, with or without a woman present. And this person doesn't need game necessarily. All he needs to do is self-improve, and the rest will follow behind him. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this out the way. Fellas, not every woman is gonna want you, regardless on how much game you think you have. Women have their preferences and it's twice as long as ours. Let's talk about the basics. I mentioned before that women want a man who's well put together. At the very least, I'm talking about this dude has his own place, he takes care of himself, has a decent job, a car, etc. And that's just the bare minimum. And you should want that for yourself off rip. Now, going back to a woman's list, those things are secondary when it comes to a woman's attraction for men. If you're 5'7", unfortunately, you're probably already disqualified. And if you aren't the specific kind of race that she wants, dismissed. And if you aren't attractive according to her standards, get to stepping. These are the first things that kind of come to mind when a woman is looking for an attractive man. Now, if we flip it, let's say you are successful. You have a lot of money, you look good, you can talk to women, but you're still 5'7". You're still probably going to be eliminated. And at the very best, you'll probably get some pity box. And who wants that? Because then you know that she's only after the bag anyway. Okay, now let's say you're 6'1", successful, got it together, future secured, etc. Now the woman you want, you approach her, spit mad game, right? And find out she's into white men. Damn, now you gotta hold that L, bro. Again, having game isn't the quintessence of obtaining women. You have to go for the women who reciprocate interests. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. Are there some exceptions? Absolutely. I mean, look at some of these women who date bums, right? Jobless, they look like slop. Some of them are felons, and they still get boxed. But that's the bad boy persona and the stigma that comes along with not having much. You know what I'm talking about, the eggplant. Also, attached with that is the challenge of changing that man. Women like a challenge, and they're naturally nurturing, so they're going to go out of their way to change them if they can. All of this has to come into consideration. But I would argue you need to be the best self, be the best self that you can be, and go for women who express a similar interest. Alright, so another aspect of this so-called game is simply playing to your strengths, fellas. Whatever that looks like for you. For women, masters. If they have a wagon back there, you know they often throw on some tight jeans or some yoga pants to show off the cheeks. Same with the top-heavy women. They actively play on their strengths to attract the opposite sex, and we should be doing the same thing. So if you're funny, charming, witty, maybe you have a nice physique because you're hitting the gym weekly, as you should, wear something that plays off what attracts women. And everything I just mentioned is a sure way to get a woman's attention, even if you have some shortcomings. For example, some larger men, some rotund men, they typically have a charismatic personality about them, right? You don't think they're getting boxed. It may not be the exact woman that they want, but they're hitting simply off of emotional engagement. They made them laugh. They made them feel good. Now, same concept with wearing an outfit that shows off your muscles. Throw on a little cologne. That's an easy W right there. A woman will approach you. She'll give you a compliment about how good you smell. She wants to know what kind of cologne it is, right? She's actively checking you out. And in order for any of this to happen, you need to spend time becoming familiar with who you are, with your self-identity. Spend some time alone and figure out what works for you best. What positive experiences have you had that yielded an outcome in your favor? How to amplify your character and become the best version of yourself. These things take time and should be embraced for the best results. Now, everything else previously mentioned isn't really going to matter if you aren't confident all of the time. This confidence is the pinnacle of this theory of game about how to obtain women. And confidence is simply doing what's best for you, a sure feeling of yourself and abilities regardless of others' perception. And this has to come from a mindset that's an established sort of, attitudes and principles and standards, right? Remaining confident is an ongoing practice, and you have to hold frame and appear masculine in almost every regard. There's no half-stepping here. Try your best to make this a second nature, just as you do breathing, right? You should want to be the best confident man you can be. It speaks volumes to your character. The men will respect it despite having some form of envy, because they are out there, and then women will notice it immediately, because women don't miss a beat when it comes to identifying weaknesses. They're very intuitive. Lock yourself in confidence, fellas, whatever it looks like for you, and carry it wherever you go. There's always going to be a challenge, and you need to know how to act against adversity and adapt to protect yourself and those around you. Alright, y'all, that's a wrap. You don't need game to approach, obtain, or to talk to women, fellas. Run this episode back and think about what it actually takes to engage with a woman. I'm curious to know your experience with game, though. Does it work for you? Is it necessary? Or do you also think it's an illusion? Like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comment down below. And I'll catch y'all at the next meal. Peace.